Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Okay, so today we are pleased to welcome Janice Duenas-McKnight from Temple University.
Hello.
And Sarah Bemberek-Saborio from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And they're going to talk to us a little bit about what the Education USA Academy is in general. Sarah, if you can go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just minimize this quick.
Did it go? Okay. So we're going to have a brief overview of what the Education USA Academy is. And then each of the representatives will talk to us about the Academy at Temple University and the Academy at UW-Madison. At the end, we will have a question and answer session. So if you have questions during the presentation, you can just send them to us there in the chat. And at the end of the presentation, we will answer all of your questions, okay? And I ask everybody to also please mute your mics so that we don't have background noise from your respective locations, okay? So once again, welcome to our presentation of today. I hope you find it informative, and I hope that you are encouraged to attend one of the academies, right? And now I'm going to hand it off to Sarah, who's going to begin the presentation.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much, Martha. So thank you again. I just want to second the thank you for joining us. And Janice and I are both very excited to have a bit of your time today to share with you information about our respective academies and then just kind of what the academy is in general. So we'll get started right away with what an Education USA Academy is. An Education USA Academy is a summer academic program meant for international students, and there are about 16 institutions in the US that offer these types of programs. And so there's a variety of, they vary slightly depending on the institution you're looking at. So they run from 2 to 4 weeks in the summer. The programs are anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000, and that fee covers tuition, room and board, health insurance, the programming and supplies and books that you would need, and then of course any activity fees that are involved in the program that you're participating in. Really the purpose is to provide an English experience that's immersive to the students who are participating, and to also give the participants the opportunity to visit different university and college campuses in the States and learn about kind of opportunities for higher education here, as well as learn how to prepare for applications and also just general college preparation. And then, of course, engage in social and cultural activities and experiences while they're visiting the United States. Now, if you would be interested in something like this, kind of some things to think about why it is you would want to participate. The first is the academies are great if you're interested in experiencing college life and culture in the United States. And also, as we mentioned earlier, learning more about the college application process and understanding kind of what goes into applying to a US institution. Also, if you're interested in learning about different types of universities and colleges, so that's what's great about the academy is you don't just learn about the institution you're visiting, but you'll have the opportunity to visit other institutions of higher education while you're here. And then, of course, you get this excellent opportunity to meet high school students from both the United States and from all over the world.
Okay, hi there, this is Janice. And who should attend the Academy? So if you're an international high school student, this program would be for you. You should be between the ages of 14 to 17 years old. However, there are some universities that will extend the offer and host 18-year-olds. So again, that is dependent upon the university that you would be, or the host institution that you would be applying for. Also, the Academy is really geared towards students who have a stronger foundation in English language. So we're looking for students who are intermediate to advanced level English speakers. And there are ways to determine that language ability. We know that most high school students abroad have not yet taken any sort of standardized testing like the the TOEFL or anything like that. So instead, you would be required to submit a letter from an advisor that would be verifying your English ability. Of course, you should be interested in studying in the United States. This program is really kind of, the idea is to create a pipeline between high school students abroad and U.S. higher ed institutions. So the goal, the ultimate goal, would be to come back as an undergraduate student in the United States. And also, we're looking at, there are some scholarships available, and of course we accept students who are self-funded. So those are the people who should be interested, or who would be available to take this program. Next.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about how, if you were interested in the Academy, how you might go about applying. So students, students end up doing is they apply directly to the Academy that they're interested in. So you would seek out the host institution that you think is the best fit for you, and then visit their website for specific instructions on how to apply. Typical requirements of most institutions would be some sort of application. They may require a transcript or some sort of recommendation letter from an advisor or an instructor. And then, as Janice mentioned, some institutions might require some sort of language assessment, but many of them understand that not all students have taken that kind of assessment, and so there would be alternatives to demonstrate your English ability for the program.
So the where is pretty exciting because the Academy network spans all across the United States, from north to south, east, and west. There are 14 states represented within the Academy, and all different types of institutions. So we have private schools, some community colleges, military colleges, public research institutions, specialized institutions, very large universities, very small colleges. So it really depends on the student and what kind of interests them, the setting that they're interested in studying in, whether it be a very large city, a smaller town, somewhere in the mountains, somewhere near the beach. So the choices are really endless when it comes to choosing an academy to attend. Sarah? And of course, we take great care in caring for our minors. So a minor is someone who is under the age of 17. That's what we would describe as a minor in the United States. Although the minors will be traveling alone, meaning that we obviously at the host institutions wouldn't be going to the home country to pick the students up. There are definitely precautions that we take to make sure that you are safe in getting here. So all students are picked up from the airport. So we gather all airport information prior to your arrival, and we will be sure to pick you up from the airport. Also included in the cost of the program for every academy is health insurance. So that is always going to be included in the cost of every single academy. As well, students will reside on campus or at a homestay. So depending, again, upon the academy that they'll be applying to, students will reside in the safety of an on-campus dormitory or with highly vetted homestay families. And then, of course, the Academy, EducationUSA also provides more information about safety if you're interested. And of course, if you're concerned about safety at all, please do contact the host institution directly, and or your EducationUSA office, and they'll be able to provide you with more information about how we keep students, especially minors, on safe during their time here and during their travel to us. Okay, Sarah?
Great. All right. So let's move on to a quick list of the host institutions for the 2019 summer. So as we mentioned earlier, there's really something for everyone. There's a wide variety of institutions that are offering academies this year. And so all of this information is available on the Education USA Academy website, and you're able to see a brief overview of each of these institutions, and then of course click on any particular institution to get more information about their particular program. So you should, if you're at all interested, take the time to investigate and learn a little bit about the programs that are available, and then reach out to the ones that you think might be a good fit for you.
Okay, thanks so much, Sarah. So we're going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit, or I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the Education USA Academy at Temple. We at Temple have been hosting the Academy for 4 years, so we have a lot of experience hosting this particular type of cohort. Honestly speaking, this is my favorite cohort, my favorite program that we run during the summer. Also, Temple is the only academy in the network with an arts focus, and we'll go into more detail later, but we do offer a few different tracks for those who are maybe more inclined to study the arts when they graduate from high school. Also, Temple University has been hosting youth summer programs for 30 years. This year is our 30-year anniversary for hosting youth summer programs. So there's a lot of experience that we have in that regard. And because we have so much experience with the Academy and also hosting youth programs, we're very experienced in caring for international minors. Sarah? So where are we? Who are we? Our campuses are across the globe, actually. So you can see on the left of your screen, that's where we are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we're on the East Coast of the United States. And we also have campuses in Tokyo, Japan, and in Rome, Italy. Next. Where you would be coming for the Academy would be main campus. That's where we are right there, Philadelphia, just between New York City and Washington, D.C. So we're about an hour and a half from New York City by bus, and Washington, D.C., we're about 2.5 hours also by bus. Again, we're on the East Coast of the United States. Next. So Temple University is a large public institution. If you're interested in being a part of a larger campus in an urban setting, then this would be something that Temple would be something that you might be interested in. As you can see, we're founded in 1884. In the US, that's kind of old. In your own countries, that's probably not so old, but we take pride in being founded quite a long time ago in regards to the US history. We have over 40,000 students, which is a large number for a big university in the United States. And we're very proud to say that we have over 3,000 international students from over 130 different countries. So we really see ourselves as being a global campus. Next, Sarah. So our city, Philadelphia, we are a large city on the East Coast, as I mentioned. Philly is also a center for culture, arts, cuisine, and history. There's lots of wonderful restaurants, lots of great art institutions, which you'll also be exploring. And we have a very rich history since we are the birthplace of the United States. So it's a very interesting city because it really is that historical yet contemporary and modern at the same time. Next. All right, so this is our city. A couple of things, some things that represent us. To the left, that's called the Liberty Bell. If you're not familiar, that is a symbol of freedom in the United States. Also, we were one of the first cities in America to receive the Love Statue. We do have a park called Love Park right in the middle of the city. To the right of that is, maybe you know this already, Benjamin Franklin. So he is one of we call them founding fathers. So he was one of the men who wrote the Declaration of Independence, as well as that photo is from the $100 bill. So if you've got a Benjamin in your pocket, you're probably a wealthy person. Down below, we have a Philadelphia cheesesteak, which everyone needs to try, and maybe you're also familiar with Philadelphia cream cheese. So things that kind of symbolize us are there. Also, we're home to 4 major professional sports teams: the Eagles for American football, the Flyers for hockey, the Philadelphia Phillies baseball, and the 76ers basketball. Everyone knows Allen Iverson. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people do. He used to play for the Sixers. Moving on. I think we went through that. Could move on from that. Okay, some more facts about Philly. We have over 300 student organizations, 140 majors. So if there's something that you want to study, we more than likely have it. It's offered here at Temple. As well as we have a smaller class size as far as student to faculty ratio, 14:1. For those who are interested in the arts, we have over 14,000 arts events every year. So there's, as well as being very strong in sports and other programs, we also have a very strong arts program. And also we're home to the Temple Owls. There's Stella over to the right. So let's get on to the Academy specifically. So the Academy is, there are 4 academies within Temple University, 4 tracks within Temple University. The University Academy, which is the more traditional one that we offer, Art and Design Academy, Film Academy, and Music Academy. So we'll get into detail in a minute. So if we take a look here at this grid, you can see that during the University Academy, students will be participating in classes on main campus, so general classes on main campus. We'll get into detail a little bit later. Art and Design students will be studying at the Tyler School of Art. Tyler School of Art is ranked number 15 in the United States. So the students would be able to choose which track that they wanted to attend at the Tyler School of Art. So there are, I think, 10 to choose from ceramics to drawing to painting to photography. Next is the Film Academy, where students will be taking classes at the School of Theater, Film, and Media Arts. And then finally, the Music Academy will be studying at our College of Boyer College of Music and Dance. Altogether, students will be taking admissions workshops, which Sarah described earlier. You'll also be able to choose an elective. So whether it's American Cinema or TOEFL IELTS, sorry, that should say IELTS prep. You will be visiting college campuses altogether, and you'll be attending local and regional field trips. You'll be going to see the Philadelphia Phillies at Citizens Bank Ballpark. You'll be going to New York, and so much more. And then also everyone will have the opportunity to share food and art from your culture. Moving on. So let's talk a little bit about University Academy. You're going to be developing your English skills, of course, your academic skills particularly. You're going to be building your leadership skills, learning about university admissions, scholarships, how to write a great personal statement, and also, as I mentioned before, you'll be taking an elective. At the Film Academy, you'll be learning about film, audio, and video. You'll be operating professional equipment and software. And at the end, you'll have created and presented your own short film. Next. The Art and Design Academy, you'll be choosing, as I mentioned, from 7 courses at Tyler School of Art, which I mentioned before, between ceramics, painting, figure drawing, etc. Also, the students that participate in the Tyler School of Art classes, the Art and Design Academy, will be attending classes with domestic students. So you will be joining other high school students from around the Philadelphia area and actually around the United States who will be here also taking these courses. And then at the end of the academy, you'll be showing your work at an exhibition. And then finally, at the Music Academy, you'll be creating an original composition. You'll be enjoying workshops and performances by guest artists who will be performing and running question and answer sessions with you. You will be preparing, you'll be learning theory and history of Western music. And it seems that many international students that come to music school in the United States, they struggle a little bit with the theory part of music major. And so this will help you become better prepared for that first year of theory classes that are required for all music majors. Okay, moving on. So let's get into some of the fun part. We do culture shares, ice cream socials, and game nights. You will be sharing your culture, as I mentioned before, with your classmates and dorm mates. You'll be learning about food and arts around the world, and you'll be having fun with domestic students. So to talk about this a little bit more, before you arrive, we ask you, would you like to share some food from your country? And so you might pack, your favorite snack from your country. And then everyone gets together and shares food from their particular region of the world. And we find it, everyone loves eating, everyone likes talking about food, and sharing it is a really great way to bond with not just your classmates, but also other students that will be living in the dormitories with you. Also, ice cream socials are a lot of fun. We will be able to join domestic students as well for that. Okay, next, Sarah. So some of the places that we'll be going and things we'll be doing, as I mentioned before, is going to a Philadelphia Phillies baseball game. We'll be going rock climbing. We're going to be learning, of course, about the history of the United States and visiting the Liberty Bell. As I mentioned before, Philly has a lot of really fantastic art, so we'll be going to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Spruce Harbor Park, which you can see that picture in the middle, that's some of our students, former students from 2 years ago, enjoying themselves at an outdoor park by the river. You'll be riding bikes throughout Fairmount Park, one of the largest public parks on the East Coast, and so much more. Next, Sarah. 2 of our regional trips will be to New York City. So week 1, that Saturday after you arrive, you'll be going to New York City and exploring with your classmates, exploring the city. And then we have a special event that we really love, and the students generally really love, which is going to Ocean City, New Jersey, which is a very traditional beach town in New Jersey, about an hour and a half from Philadelphia. So that is always a really great day to walk on the boardwalk, play on the beach, and eat some delicious but maybe not so healthy food. Moving on. I think we went through that one. Next. Let's take a look at the schedule. I'm not sure how well you can see this, guys, but you can see the idea of showing you this slide is not so much that you can see exactly what we have planned for you, but more so that you can see how busy you're going to be. And we like to keep the students busy, and I think that they like to stay busy as well. So your day starts at 8:30 with breakfast. It starts with an afternoon of the morning of classes, and you have lunch. Then you go into your elective classes, and then you start with your events, exploration of the city, whether you're going to the Museum of Art or you're going to the observation deck. Then you'll go into dinner, study hall. Then you get some private time, some personal time, and we like to give this time so that you can reflect on your day and your experiences and record them in a journal. And then you were returning to your room, and then lights out at 10 o'clock. So it's a pretty jam-packed schedule and jam-packed 3 weeks, but every single event and class was very carefully selected for you, and with the years of experience running these programs, we think that we have a pretty good model there. Next. So we'll talk a little bit about the meals and resources. We like to give the students some flexibility with choosing their own meals. That's why we use something called Diamond Dollars. Diamond Dollars are basically, they're funds, money that are loaded onto your Temple Owl card. You'll have a student ID, and it works like a debit card. You'll be able to swipe for your meals all over campus. I gave you some examples of places you can eat, as well as swiping for your meals all over campus. You'll also be able to access the library and the gym. You'll be able to enter the building securely. So that has a lot of purposes, as well as getting a lot of discounts around the city as well for being a Temple student. Next. Let's talk about your housing. All students will be housed at 1940 Residence Hall. This residence hall or dormitory has only minors. So every single person living there besides the chaperones are minors only. As I said before, Temple has been running youth programs for many, many years. So you'll be living in dormitories with other young people like yourselves. Of course, rooms are by gender. It's a very secure space. Everyone has had background checks, and also there are no visitors allowed. So you must be a resident of the hall in order to enter. And of course, there's a curfew. Next. We, of course, take safety very seriously. You can see that our ratio is 7-to-1 for chaperone to student. Our chaperones are very well trained. We try to provide a very good balance between privacy and oversight. So we understand that we need to keep you safe, but we also understand that that it's important for you to also have your private time. And then we have, I'll skip over to student and parent rules and regulations. So students and their parents have to sign the rules and regulations sheet so that we make sure that everybody understands what the rules are. And then we go over these again when you arrive here on campus. We use the buddy system, and we wear our lanyard with very important information in it at all times. Okay, next. These are two of our alumni, some of our favorites right here. We have Nesa from Bolivia, and we have Tram from Vietnam. Okay, next. These are just some of the universities that we may be visiting. We will definitely be going to Princeton, Community College of Philadelphia, amongst others. Next. These are our details for the Academy. The date is from the 7th to the 27th of July, and the cost is $49.50. And as Sarah had mentioned earlier, this is an all-inclusive fee. We do have scholarships available. The application closes on May 13th. So please, if you're interested, apply as soon as possible. Next. And for future reference, just check out our You Are Welcome Here campaign that Temple spearheaded a few years ago to make sure that all international students know that they are welcome here at Temple University and in the United States. Next. And if you have any questions, there's our contact information, which will be repeated at the end of the slideshow. Thank you so much for your attention, and I will hand you off to Sarah.
Great, thanks, Janice. Thanks everyone for taking the time to learn about Temple. I'm excited now to, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning, give you an idea of kind of how different some of the academies can be and allow you kind of the opportunity to learn about finding one that really fits the kind of goals that you have for visiting the U.S. So like we mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk to you about the Academy here at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And we'll start by giving you an idea of where Madison is. It's located in the Midwest region of the country, I'm sorry. And as you can see, we're quite north. So in January, we get some really nice freezing cold weather and snow, but by the time you'll be joining us in July, we really have wonderful weather, and it's a great place to be in the summer. So here's a closer view of where we're located, and it gives you an idea of how close we are to Chicago. We're about 2 to 2.5 hours north of Chicago. If you arrive and plan on attending an academy at UW, most likely you would arrive to Chicago, and then as Janice had mentioned, there will be staff from our team there to greet you at the airport and then get you back to Madison. So I also want to second Janice's comments about how welcome you are as an international student at UW-Madison. Madison, the community at large, and the university is a really wonderful, diverse, and really welcoming place to be. And we are very, very proud of the international diversity we have represented on our campus and are very excited to welcome new students into each of our international programs. So I want to start by giving you a little bit of background about Madison first. You can see some images here. Madison is the capital of Wisconsin. It's a city of about 350,000 people. So it's by no means as large as like Chicago, but it's got a ton of stuff going on, a lot of activities. In particular in the summer, it's a really great place to be, but it's kind of got that nice small town, like easy to get around feel. Everyone's really, really friendly here. And it's a great place to visit. Madison is consistently rated as one of the best places to live in the US, and that's taking into account things such as standard of living, quality of education, safety. So it's a good place to be. Give you an introduction into the country. Madison this year was labeled as the 4th safest city in the United States, according to our Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. It's a very liberal and progressive community, very active in immigrant rights. And again, a lot is happening here in the city. And just to go back to the weather here in the summer, it's a really comfortable 27 degrees Celsius, sunny almost all the time, very little rainfall. So a lot of opportunity to be out and about exploring the city. Here is this is kind of a smattering or a selection of pictures and images of things that happen here in the summer. So Madison has a lot of, on campus even, and then around the community as well, lots of galleries and museums and lots of festivals, in particular related to food and music. So often on weekends, both on the immediate campus and then around in the community, there are lots of free events for exploring different kinds of music. We have a very big foodie culture here, lots of food carts if you're familiar with. They're like small mobile stands that are parked all over the city all summer, and they represent food from all over the world. And so it's fun. You can see an image here in the second row of people visiting food stands and food carts in the summer. We have a lot of natural space, over 6,000 acres in 260 parks in our city. Our particular program integrates a lot of service opportunities and volunteer work. We found through our history of running international student programs that students really love the opportunity to do volunteer work and get involved off of campus and on campus with communities they might not necessarily otherwise work with and talk to. And so we pair up with some community gardens and work with some youth groups, some student groups who are learning how to garden. We've done work with preparing meals for homeless communities in the area, and a variety of other things. So there's a lot of opportunity to kind of get off campus and explore ways to support the community. And then one of our weekend excursions is to Chicago. So you can see in the bottom corner of your screen the bean, and we do take a day to explore Chicago while you're here. So just to give you a little bit of background about UW-Madison, we are a public research institution. We have just under 44,000 students enrolled. And as far as our undergraduate majors and certificates, we have 232 different options. So if you're looking to get to know a place that might be of interest to you for undergraduate studies, Madison has a really large variety of majors that we offer, and many of those are very highly ranked across the country and across the world. So the next couple slides just give you a little bit of glimpse into kind of some of the spaces you would be visiting while you're here at the Academy. So one of these images shows you our newly established engineering makerspace, and we will be taking part in some workshops there during the time. It's a really great hands-on space where we'll get the opportunity to really explore kind of some new technology and engineering, as well as some classrooms and study spaces in the library. We also collaborate quite a bit with our Career Exploration Center here on campus. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but we do offer 2 different tracks for our program. One of those is career exploration. So this particular team of individuals does a really nice job of running a lot of great interactive and hands-on workshops for you to think about what major you might want to choose and kind of how that might align with your interests. And so we collaborate a lot with them. We also do a bunch of work in some various workshops on campus. And then the bottom corner picture just shows you kind of one of our most famous buildings on campus. It's called Bascom Hill. This is Bascom Hall, located on Bascom Hill. And this is where our chancellor, the head of our university, works. And it's kind of a famous building set atop the highest point on campus. These next couple pictures just show you kind of where you'll be spending your morning and evening hours. So the dorm that you see in the bottom corner of the screen is the dorm that our students will be living in for the academy. As Janice mentioned, it is a dorm specified for only students who are minors. So other than the staff that are working there, all the residents are minors. It's located on the lakeshore. It's actually the newest dorm we have here on campus. Within the dorm itself, as you can see, it's surrounded by several soccer fields. It's very close to, actually the building you see behind it is the gymnasium and the natatorium. So very close to a lot of areas for recreation. Also within it, it has a really great meal hall, dining hall with a wide variety of food from all over the world. And so you're able to, with the card that you'll be receiving from UW, to kind of access any of those food areas that interest you. And then also just a few more glimpses of campus. We do have a couple buildings known as the Union. And these are kind of fun spaces where students go to hang out. There's bowling, there's rock wall climbing. We have multiple museums on campus that are open to the community and free, like the Physics Museum. Here's the Geology Museum. And then up above, you see kind of a center point of our campus, which is called Library Mall. And there are a few of those food carts I mentioned earlier. But this is kind of a central point where a lot of people pass through at lunch hour and as they're going around campus. And so you'll get to see, you know, a lot of people hanging out. And in the background, you see that Bascom Hill I mentioned, the large hill that goes up to that main building on campus. So a lot of stuff to see while you're visiting UW. So just to give you a little background on kind of recognition that UW has received. We are a large research institution. Most recently in 2018, we were named 6th for research. And then also in 2018-2019, we were named 27th for World University Rankings. And then we are also 12th on a top public school ranking. So UW is really recognized across the world for being an exceptional institution and offering exceptional education. So let's get a little bit into the academy specifics at UW-Madison. Our program dates, every program varies slightly depending on what the institution is offering. Our particular program runs from July 1st to July 19th, and students would typically arrive the weekend prior and then depart the weekend after. As far as the application deadline, it is May 10th, so it's just about a month away. And the tuition for the program, which is that all-inclusive room and board, meals, programming, insurance, transportation within the program, and then airport pickup, is $4,995. And we already kind of alluded to this, but the program, as a reminder, is meant for students ages 15 to 17. We do accept students who are 18 years old if they are still in the midst of their high school programming. Students can be native or non-native speakers of English and have to have at least an intermediate level of English and just need to be residing outside of the United States. So I want to give you a little glimpse into what we see as kind of the benefits or the advantages of taking part in the EducationUSA Academy at UW. And these are kind of things you need to consider, and looking at some of the examples if this is kind of what fits your goals for your experience in the US. So we really hope students walk away with the opportunity for some personal growth and independence, the opportunity to really develop lifelong international friendships, aggressively and kind of engage in academic programming and regional field trips that are of interest to them, support from a responsible and caring team, which I'll give you a little bit of information about who you would be working with while you're here, and then just a really great opportunity to kind of learn that will have future value for you. So looking first at personal growth and independence, as I mentioned earlier, we do offer 2 tracks. So when you would register for EducationUSA Academy at UW-Madison, you decide if you would like to do a career exploration track or an intensive English for college preparedness track. And I'll get a little bit into each of those now. So the career exploration track is really designed for students who are near fluent or fluent speakers of English. There isn't really a separate English component for this particular track, although of course in general you're being immersed all day long in English, and so you get to work on your English that way. But this program really is meant for students who are interested in kind of experiencing and exploring different career options that are available out there. And that could be the student who comes and says, I know I want to be a mechanical engineer. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect you with some students who are in engineering here on campus and let them talk to you about their experience as an undergraduate student. We're also going to allow you to participate in some workshops that are related to engineering, and then also meet with other departments on campus, because many times when we choose a career, we aren't strictly working in engineering or strictly working in nursing, but instead we're overlapping with other kind of careers and fields. And so that's why we want to provide you with the opportunity to explore different careers on campus and majors on campus, and then kind of see how it all aligns with what you think your interests are. So I already mentioned that you'll have the opportunity to participate in workshops, talk to students and student panels, and then do departmental and also industry tours. And then also the opportunity to attend a campus undergraduate course in a field that you're interested in. Now, as far as if you decide to choose the intensive English track, then what that would involve is high, intermediate, or advanced speakers choosing this option. And this program will specifically have a theme of leadership, critical thinking, or problem solving. So a lot of your English course would be centered around these skills. And the reason for that is these skills are soft skills. And studies over and over show that these are the skills that students need to succeed in higher education. And so it's really important that in addition to working on your English, that it's centered around a theme that's of benefit to you. And so in addition to expanding your English vocabulary, there'll be a lot of opportunity to improve your skills through discussion and negotiation and presentation, all under these themes of soft skills. So here's a sample, just one day of a sample schedule, and kind of what Janice said, this isn't meant for you to get an exact understanding of what you're going to be doing every single day, but more of just to see kind of what a typical day would look like. So as you can see in the morning are those 2 tracks. You would be choosing one or the other for the entire program. And then we all come back together at lunch. The afternoon is typically a university workshop. Here is where we would be meeting with admissions advisors. You would be working with our writing center here on campus to get help and craft a personal statement that you can use for future applications. And that's also when we would be doing site visits of different higher education institutions. And then into the afternoon and evening is where we do a lot of those more social and cultural activities. So there are lots, and I'll get into this in a minute, but there are a lot of opportunities for us to tie up and connect with different institutions or different pre-college programs on campus. So you'll get the opportunity to really work with a variety of students, even outside of your academy, and develop friendships that way through a lot of these great social activities that we have planned for you. So another great benefit, kind of moving into that, is the opportunity to develop really great international lifelong friendships. So this is going to happen through having a roommate at the dorm from another country. There's going to be a lot of cultural and social events that you'll be participating in. So you will be here during our Independence Day, and we'll be spending the day kind of exposing you to how we celebrate that here in the United States. As I mentioned earlier, there are lots of festivals both on campus and within the community that we'll be getting you involved in. We organize bonfires, movie nights, sporting activities. So there's a lot of opportunity to be active and get to know a lot of people while you're here. Additionally, we partner up with multiple pre-college groups on campus. So these are just a few of the examples. WICAD is the Wisconsin Center for Academically Talented Youth. I already mentioned our Career Exploration Center, Pushkin and College Access Program. These are all camps, for lack of a better word, with students the same age as you. And so we partner with them on many of our afternoon and weekend activities. So you'll get to meet these other groups of students, but not just once. You'll be doing stuff with them over and over. So hopefully you'll have the opportunity to really make some great friendships during the time that you're with them. Additionally, you'll get to experience a lot of academic programming while you're here. So that comes in the form of, as I mentioned earlier, university and admissions workshops, the opportunity to visit. Actually, we'll be taking you to 3 different sites of higher education here in the US. You'll be participating in both writing and leadership workshops, so really great engaging opportunities to work on your writing and then see how you are as a leader and improve your leadership skills. And then engage with other students and kind of learn directly from the student of kind of what are the successes and failures and how to thrive at a higher education institution in the US. Here are a couple pictures of some of the weekend kind of regional field trips that we take part in. So Devil's Lake State Park is about 45 minutes from Madison. It's an incredible place. It's a very large protected area in Madison, or in Wisconsin, I'm sorry, and we'll do some hiking there, have a picnic, hang out. As you can see, there's a beach, so we'll be able to swim as well. And then we'll be taking you to Wisconsin Dells one weekend. Wisconsin Dells is known as the water park capital of the world, and we'll be taking you to one of the largest water parks that are there. We'll also be participating in a trip to Chicago, as I mentioned earlier. Art Fair on the Square is a really unique and amazing weekend event that happens during the Academy, where artists from all over the world come and sell and display their artwork around our Capitol that you see in the picture. And then we also have a weekly farmers market, which is actually one of the best in the country. And it's also around the Capitol. And so we'll head up there, and it's fun to try lots of different foods, and everything comes from within 150 miles of Madison. So everything's regional and local, and you'll get a chance to really see kind of what Madison and Wisconsin food is all about. So moving on a little bit to who will be supporting you while you're here at Madison. So the team with whom I work, I'm here in the bottom corner, and then you can see 2 of my colleagues in the opposite corner, have extensive experience working with international students and youth, and have been running programs for many years that bring international students to UW-Madison. So we'll essentially be your family away from your family, right? We're going to be there to support you in, of course, keeping you safe is our #1 concern, as well as just being kind of the point person throughout the day. We'll be there involved with you in the different activities, and then being, the main point of contact for anything that would come up outside of regular kind of program hours. There are 24/7 counselors that will be living in the dorms with you, and then be also point people throughout the day to take you to different programs. And they'll also be there to help you with if you're having any issues with homesickness, helping to get you involved in different activities, and then, like I mentioned, to kind of get you around to the different activities you'll be involved in while you're here. UW-Madison also has a really exceptional health services team. It's actually housed in the dorm that you'll be living in. And for the last 3 years, it's been recognized as the best health service, college health service in the US. So a really outstanding team of nurses that are available to take care of you in the event any health concern arises. And then our UW Police Department, I like to put in a photo because they're a really wonderful group of people who do what's called community-based policing. And so what that means is they're very, very active and involved in the community. You'll see them out and about all the time, just checking in. They're wonderful, friendly people who are there to, of course, keep you safe, but then also to be a great resource for you while you're on campus. So the last kind of main benefit I see as you getting from EducationUSA Academy is really the opportunity to have this experience this summer that's going to be of great value to you when you choose to use it later in life. So the first part of that is that with University of Wisconsin-Madison, our mascot, our animal, is a badger. And so we call ourselves badgers. And we have over 440,000 badgers, so people who have gone through the University of Wisconsin and are now living across the world. And we are this network that you will become a part of upon participating in EducationUSA Academy. And so what you'll find is that's going to be really beneficial to you in the future if you want to travel or reach out and learn about careers or potentially connect with someone from UW in a place that you'll be going. You'll be studying at a world-renowned university, and all the experiences you have at the Academy are going to be really helpful for you for future applications as well as career opportunities. So I want to just conclude my portion by leaving you with a quote from an international student we had from Mexico. And what I think is great about her particular quote is she talks about how powerful being a part of that Badger, that UW-Madison network has been for her. So it's helped her to start conversations with people. It's helped her in job opportunities, because so many people have graduated and been through UW-Madison and are now all over the world doing incredible things, and you're going to become a part of that team. So thank you so much. My contact information is here, but I'll move it on to the next slide so that you can have all of the information from all of us who presented today. But we would love to welcome some of you this summer to UW-Madison, and we really appreciate the time you took to learn about our academies. So that being said, I think we're going to wrap up.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Janice and Sarah. Those were incredibly informative presentations about your academies. If anybody has any questions, now is the time to ask it in our chat. I think it was very informative. I was a little bit curious about how big the groups are at each of your academies. How many students participate?
This is Janice. Can you hear me? My mic is being a little finicky.
Yes, we hear you, Janice.
Okay. So in the past, we've had anywhere between 15 and 20 students. So generally, we would like to cap it somewhere between 25 and 30, 25 being a better number, actually. With a group like this, with so, it's so many special needs in regard to being minors and safety, and also we want to make sure that they're having more intimate connections and things like that. We like to keep the number small for this program.
Yep, and I would kind of second that. This is actually the University of Wisconsin's first year running this particular program, but 15 is the kind of the minimum number that we would expect to have in the program, and then 25 is probably the cap as well for us. For the same reasons that Janice mentioned about making sure that it's a great experience for everyone, as well as having the appropriate ratios given that participants are minors.
Yeah, looks like there's a question about scholarships.
Yes, there's a question about applying to Temple University Academy, but she would need a scholarship. So what do you need to get a scholarship?
So everything can be found on our website, ielp.temple.edu, under the EducationUSA Academy. But just briefly, what would be required is a letter of support from an advisor or an instructor, as well as a personal statement from the student applicant. So, you would be answering the question, I'm sorry, I can't quite recall, but something to the effect of why do you want to come to EducationUSA Academy, and what do you expect to gain from that experience? So yes, so it's a pretty simple process. Again, applications close mid-May for that. So yeah, I would suggest getting started. And if you have any questions at all, please do email us at the email address that's on the screen.
Are these full scholarships or partial scholarships?
We have both. We have full and partial. The full scholarships are more limited, obviously, and they're just program scholarships. So they wouldn't be covering spending money or flights. Great.
And we have another question about what are the accepted forms of English proof for each of the academies?
You want to start, Sarah?
Sure. Yeah. So for UW-Madison, we don't require any sort of standardized test. What we do require on the registration page of the website is a recommendation form from an advisor or an English instructor that allows them to kind of give us a detailed overview of your English ability. So you would need to submit or provide your advisor or English instructor with that document. They would complete it and then forward it directly to us.
And at Temple, it's quite similar. So we understand that high school students have generally not taken any standardized tests. So it would be an advisor who would be a teacher or an advisor who would be vouching for the level of that particular student using the CEFR framework, which I believe you use in Chile. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, many of the high schools here use it.
Yes.
Aside from the English requirement, is there any other specific like academic type requirement for students?
This is Janice here. The only other, we don't need to see report cards or grades or anything like that, but just for general, as well as the scholarship, we also will need if you're not applying for the scholarship, we will need a recommendation letter from an advisor or an instructor.
Okay.
And our form is pretty straightforward online.
Okay.
And this is Sarah from Madison, and that recommendation form I mentioned a moment ago for the English recommendation, along with that has some questions related to just the general student performance of the applicant. And so that kind of document is all encompassing for both their academic performance as well as their English.
Okay. Great. Does anybody else have questions in the chat? Well, you have the contact information for all of us. So if you think of a question later on, you could always contact us and we'll be sure to get back to you with an answer very soon. So thank you very much, Janice and Sarah, once again for your presentations. I hope that everyone found them useful and informative. And we will have our next webinar of our series on April 16th with St. Cloud University. Okay.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.